Well, hello there, my good YouTube people. It is Bridget back again from It's Your Time channel. And it's been a couple of weeks because I have been on vacation. And let me tell you, it was fabulous. Brought a couple things back to talk to you guys about and just to kind of share some of the experiences that we had. We went on an 11-day cruise to Japan. We left out of Tokyo, so we actually had to fly to Tokyo, and we stayed in Tokyo for the first night. We left Sacramento actually 2 days before the cruise was to start because they are way ahead of time over in Japan. I believe it's, if I can remember correctly, it's 12, 16 hours ahead of time. So we left, flew into Tokyo, spent the night there, stayed at a really nice hotel called the Citadine Harbor, and that is one of something I really want to recommend that in case anybody does that because we're right there by the port. It started off lovely in the hotel. We went out that night and we had dinner, believe it or not, in Chinatown in Japan. That was the nicest experience because there it wasn't in English. None of the menu was in English, and the our waitress, she only spoke Japanese as well. But to order the food, we had the time of our lives trying to, use our Apple translate. So we would, write in English what we wanted, and then we would show her, and it would also talk to. You could actually, speak into it as well. Our chicken came out fried. It was super hot. We couldn't even eat the food when it first got there, and this lady was handling the dining room. I would have to say there's probably 8 to 10 tables there, and she would serve the table and she would be handling the front door. So people were at the front door with questions or people were walking by, she would like, want to flag people in, but she was on top of it. And it sounds like a huge trip. We planned it over a couple of years just to get ready for the expense of it, to get some ideas of what we want to do when we were there, even though life happens, life goes on, and we didn't really have the time we wanted to spend to really look at as many things in advance, but it didn't matter because there were so many helpful tips that the cruise did. We actually went on the Princess cruise line and we went on the Diamond ship, which is it's a nice ship, and we picked that actually because my honey likes cigars and there's a cigar bar on the boat. So I thought that'd be a super cool thing to do in the evenings, to be able to sit there and have a cocktail and be at the cigar lounge. Because even in Japan, at this time of the year, we went really primarily because we wanted to see the cherry blossoms, be there in cherry blossom season. So it was just starting when we went there. So it was still like the end of the winter, beginning of spring over there. So it was still a little chilly at times. It could be like 40s, 50s at night. So smoking outside on the deck wasn't always the thing at night. So the cigar bar came in very handy. The staff on that boat, I'm going to tell you, we've been on a couple of cruises, and unfortunately, I caught a little sniffle on the way. So we've been on a couple of cruises, and this was by far the best staff. I mean, everybody was courteous and kind, always with a smile. And these people work, can I tell you, they work like 10, 12 hours a day, and they work straight through. I was talking, most of them, there's a couple that might have had like a 3 month stint, but most of them work 6 months on and they take 3 months off and go home. But they don't have full days off during any of the 6 months. So they work all these hours. They get maybe, 8 hours a day off. Sometimes, I guess, like the first part of the day, they do like a 2.5, 3 hour break where they can take a nap. And then they have some off time, during the day that they can go and basically, I would imagine when you're working that hard, you just want to rest. But some of them find time to go off the ship and actually go into the ports and, get things, see things, be able to enjoy some of it. But it's really tight. It's hard to even imagine. I was there on vacation and I was tired just going through some of the tours and just keeping up with, the daily activities of what I wanted to do. And, so them just always being, willing to go above and beyond, it just warmed my heart. I actually have to do my survey still about them, and I've got a couple of names that I'll put in there. But Princess, in my opinion, is probably one of the better cruise lines as far as your amenities and things. The ships being a little bit newer, um, but 11 days of bliss, I will tell you. There were things to do from morning till night, but so you could stay on the boat and you would even have to get off. You could stay on the boat and be entertained, from the dining options, activities, and they started the restaurants open at like 6 a.m. Activities would start at like 7 o'clock. They had Tai Chi on the deck every morning at 8 for anybody who wanted to participate. They had um, gym, what do you call it? Gym, what am I trying to say? We did like a spin class, they had Pilates, they had yoga, uh, all these things, and you actually did it all through an app on your phone that was a little quirky. You had some little hiccups here and there, but for the most part, you could make your dining reservation. You could check wherever you were. You could check any time during the day if you wanted to, add something to the itinerary. You could get perfect on the boats wherever you were. You could, get drinks and snacks delivered to you right where you were, or in your stateroom, room service. So it's kind of like a mobile room service. Super good. The food was amazing on the boat. Even the regular general dining that they have, kind of like a buffet. It's called was Horizon Court, I believe. Every day there was a different theme of something. So they always had fresh fish. They had Japanese entrees. They had Indian entrees. They had vegetarian selections, vegetarian choices. It was just amazing. We were not so crazy to think that we were going to run for 9 days. So we actually decided to go off the boat like every other day. So we did three big excursions, and then we went off 2 days just to see the local ports just on our own, just to like walk out and see the town and pick up a couple of things. And we actually ran into a couple ladies that were standing outside, and they're like, "Where are you guys from?" And you could tell they were like, really interested. So we had to pull out our phone and, get out Apple Translate or Google Translate again and just kind of, try to help them understand. They were a little bit older, so it was hard to tell them that they were, you can talk and you talk in it and then we'll listen. But yeah, it was fabulous. So I'll tell you where we did go. So it started off in Tokyo. So the first port was in Tokyo, Nagasaki. The second was Busan, and that was South Korea. Third, now I'm gonna probably murder some of these names, but Sakamoto, Missouri was the fifth port. Kanazawa, Sakata, Hakadote, and Shimizu. And then the last day, it came back to Tokyo, and we actually were able to get off the boat because usually you disembark kind of early anyway. And we took like a half-day tour. I'd say it's like probably a 6-hour tour of Tokyo, had lunch, and then they dropped us off at the airport. So there were so many options, and you could just do as much or as little as you wanted to do. But I'm telling you, the Nagasaki was... At first, I was a little leery of going, but my honey decided she wanted to go. So we went, and I knew that, just everything that happened, in Nagasaki with the war and how they, bombed Japan. But it was so rich in information and culture, the tours. So you'll see some of the pictures of the first first memorial park that we went to. Every country sent... and this was way back then after the war was settled and all. Everybody sent a statue or a piece of art that conveyed their wish and desire and gratitude for peace. So there's a couple of pictures in there of the different countries that said different things. It was really interesting. The one for the United States was really, really artistic. It had pictures of kids, and the kids were as if they were like all holding hands and kind of like in the air. It was like the kids flying through the air, all holding hands. and it was a continual circle of just togetherness. And that was one of the pieces that was the piece that the United States sent. And that was just amazing. There's just so much to share. Even in the pictures, there's captions that were in English. Most everything, of course, was in Japanese as well. But there's even a picture of their office, looked like Parliament, like what our Parliament looks like, where they sat down and made decisions. You could see like they had little labels of the chairs of like which country's, prime minister or president or representative would sit in which chairs. It was just really lovely to see. But I'll tell you, the thing that I was so surprised about, and it wasn't really surprising in that I had never heard of it, but just to be in and around it and be a part of it, was how clean Japan is. Even the first day that we got there, we went to Tokyo, and before we even left for the cruise, we were walking outside, and there were actually people that are employed to sweep up the sidewalk, sweep up the leaves, whatever blows on the sidewalk. People take it, but not just the neighborhood, the businesses. There's nothing on the ground, and there are very few trash cans, and that was something that we heard about before that we went. And so to take a bag with you, or just to be prepared to take your garbage with you to wherever the receptacle was going to be. If it was going to be far away, you might have to hold on to it until you got there. And I appreciated that. I'm telling you, it was so awesome. It was like you already knew you were in another world just by the way people dressed, and I'll say that because everybody, where we were in Tokyo, we were in the heart of like the metropolitan area where there was a lot of businesses and people were going to work, and all of the men all had on very similar suits. So they were like black, gray, dark blue, and they would have like, different ties, shoes, and shirts. So the only thing that really distinguished them from each other. The ladies were very conservatively dressed as well. Mostly in dark clothes, dark type suits, but they were kind, they were warm people for sure. And I'm glad that I went to Japan when I did. We visited Bali first, and then we went to Thailand this last year. And Southeast Asia is just the thing now, up and coming. A lot of people are traveling, moving abroad. But I will still say that the Thai people, as of now, are still the most kind, the most accommodating. Now the Japanese were fine. They were accommodating, but there was a lot of business going on. You could tell that they were a little more about their business and just a little more formal. I'll say that. But yes, so there was a couple of things that I brought back. They gave you every day on the cruise, they gave you a little information sheet of the port, and kind of highlighted like all the things that you could take part in, some of the things that the port and city was known for. So Nagasaki, their three main attractions were the Peace Park, the Atomic Bomb Museum, which there are some pictures in the reel about that you'll see, and the Glover Garden. So that we did see actually all of those, but I don't have the pictures broken up in actual sequence of the day. So you'll probably see different pieces of that throughout the picture reel there. But one of the things that they were known for there, a lot of blends of culture from all the different settlers, wars, people that are traveling. They had an interesting blend of the Chinese, Portuguese, and Dutch influences. So one of the things that I brought back, when I'm a big sweets kind of person. I really love good desserts, not just any kind of dessert, but something really good. So it was known for their sponge cakes, and it's a little tiny cake, and it looks a lot like our Madeleines, but it's super cakey, very heavy, but not sweet. So I don't know if you can picture what I'm saying, but super cool. We went to one of the temples, and they have stores, of course, where you can buy little souvenirs and things, but there was a particular place that you would go, and you could put a donation if you'd like, and there was a little box that you could pick up, and you shake the box, and then there was a hole there, and then there were straws, or like there were actually wooden sticks that would come out, and they had numbers on them. So you would shake it for a while, making a wish, and then pull the little stick out, find out which number, look in the little drawer, and then there was a little piece of paper inside. And I thought that how amazing that no matter where you go, God's spirit is always active. People that try to put God in a box, it's useless. It's just God's spirit is everywhere. So I had picked this one for myself, or not for myself, but this came up for me, and it says, "Were we to neglect the completion of a task because it was hard, nothing would be done at all in this human world of ours." And that was so pertinent to me, even with this YouTube journal, because I find that, just getting in front of people and sharing, it's just not always easy, and you always have to make up your mind to to stick with it, to be vulnerable, to be able to share, because you never know who's listening, who might want to hear, who might need to hear, and then who can take tidbits of your information, and their life can be a little bit easier because you believe there. So I thought that was good. And then I got this, and that too. There's a if you do hold your translator over that, it is a representation of divine protection. And inside of that, there is a little wooden, like a little plaque, a little tiny plaque. And you put your wish on there, or your affirmation on there, and then you put it back in its little holder, and you keep that there. And it kind of just reminds you of what you're aspiring to. It's another, oh, what is the last one? I don't know how I lost it, guys, that quick, but there's another one, a cute little yellow puffed pillow pendant, and that one is a reminder of victory and perseverance. So, just a bit to share with you the first part of our trip. So, that was Nagasaki. We did go to Southern Korea, Busan, and that was fabulous. And then we went to Hakodate. So, I will be back next week and share with you our next stop, which will be South Korea. I hope that you enjoyed it. It's good to be back with you again. Want you to remember that this is your time. Make decisions that are good for you, because you can't hold anybody accountable for your life not being what it is besides yourself. Make time for you. Choose you. Have a blessed day. Talk to you soon.